Welcome back at the MCJ's Art Studio. Yes, back at the studio, having a forced hiatus because of the back injury. And if you have been following up on my page, then you know what has happened in the meantime. If not, click on the link here above in the corner and you can see the whole ordeal that went down. All right. But I have to say, I'm happy to be back and not to be in my house like this. It just gives such a refreshing feeling. And even though I'm not really at the level yet where I need to be, I'm already happy that I can do the things that I want to do and pick up the pace. All right. So, thank you so much for the people that have been subscribing to the platform. Welcome. And listen, if this is the first time that you are meeting me right now, then you should be subscribing to be on the up and up on everything that happens when it comes to art and the lifestyle around it. Let's start this video. Let me just scoot right over here. Just let it pass by. Yes, I know I'm late. I'm late. But I'm back. Listen, I'm back. Here in the studio. Very happy to be here back in the studio. We're Dutch taking it one day at a time. I think that is the best attitude to have. Take it one day at a time. So yeah, we're here back in the studio, and I thought, you know what? I'm not really ready to be painting yet. Let me start sketching. Okay, let me start sketching. I don't know what it was today. I was just not, no, I was not up for painting. And by the way, my brushes were still dirty. I still need to clean those. I haven't cleaned them since the last time I was in the studio before I had the back injury. So that's a couple of weeks. And I think I ruined some of my brushes. So I definitely have to go buy some new ones. That's another show, another time. So I never really talked about the way that I actually approach sketching. How do I do that? What's my method? What's the goal? How do you work? And there are many different artists here on YouTube that you can learn something from. When it comes to the basics, that's really pretty simple. The way that I learned and started to do illustrating, drawing, sketching, things like that is by learning shapes, right? It sounds counterproductive because everybody thinks that you right off have to learn how a face looks like, and you have to get the features right. You have to know how to create a mouth, a nose, and the details. That comes last. I don't stress about that. I don't stress about that. The first thing that you need to do is learn to work with shapes. And that means the basics. If you have never picked up a pencil, a marker, a fine liner, I don't even want you to be worried about the fact what it is that you're using. I just want you to get into the shapes. Go into your cylinders, go into your cubuses, go into your squares, your rectangulars, triangle, hexagons. I don't care what shape you want to go into that. After you master that, then you go into values, contrast, lighting, shade, perspective. Those come all later. Okay, those come later. And to be quite honest, those are the things that can be also very overwhelming for people because there's so much that you can add to a drawing or an illustration that people get very much lost into all of the details that they want to add. It needs to look good. That comes last. Don't worry about that. It still comes down to practicing. So the way that I practice as I grew up doing drawings from elementary school all the way to where I am right now It's just by doing it, sketching, doing it plenty of times, and not really being afraid of making any mistakes. That's actually the key. So that is the first thing that I want to start out with. All right, ease of ease up on the pressure. Don't get lost in the sauce. You'll get there. The more details that you want to add to it, trust and believe, you'll get there. Really. So, what I focus on in the beginning is just to have an overall shape. How does the face look like? Is it round? Is it square? Is it to the side? Is it a perspective that is head on? Is it slightly tilted? What is the shape? What's the shape of the head? So, that's what I start with. I like working with hard and soft pencils. Hard pencils are denoted with a number and the letter H behind it. Soft pencils are denoted with letters and with numbers and the letter B behind it. B of beta. So I like to use both, but for sketching, I like to use with the harder ones. I use light pressure. Light pressure. And the reason why I use light pressure is because if I put too much pressure on pencils, whether it's hard or soft, but when it comes to harder pencils and you put a lot of pressure on it, you dent your paper, and the moment that you start erasing, it just becomes ugly. It doesn't look good. So light pressure, sturdy lines. What do I mean by that? Don't be so gibbery. It doesn't have to be like, you have to make a circle 3, 4, 5 times in a row in the same place. Just make one circle, maybe two. Confident, sturdy lines. That is what is going to help you. And that is also the way that I like to, sketch. I sketch it out. Actually, I'm illustrating. If you look what I'm doing, I'm actually illustrating, and I call it sketching, but it's not the same, of course. So in technicality, I start out with a sketch and I illustrate further on down the road. So that's what I do. I mostly sketch with pencils, graphite pencils to be exactly. I have cheap brands. I have more expensive brands. I got to tell you, it depends on what it is that you like to use. It depends on what it is that you like to use. If it comes to the more expensive brands, then Derwent is a good one. Derwent. Derwent is a really good one that I've been using. And I've been using that for quite some time. No complaints at all. And I use the generic ones, like literally like the generic ones. The HB pencils, I use them as well. Your yellow HB generic pencils. Okay? 12 in a pack. Okay? Those are fine too. It comes down to what it is that you are comfortable with. And what do you prefer? All right, what do you prefer? And what is it that you can afford? The reason why I have cheapy ones and I also have expensive ones is because I wanted to see the difference between them. Here and there are definitely significant differences, but overall, it's a tool that you can create art with. So don't get caught up in them, in everything. Another thing that I also like to use when it comes to sketches and illustrating are charcoal pencils. They are different than graphite. Charcoal is definitely a different material than graphite. It is a little bit heavier material. It's not so forgiving when it comes to erasing it. Whether you're using a strong, sturdy eraser or a kneadable eraser, it's not that forgivable. But it's a very beautiful material to really create more into your value, your contrast, light, dark, shading, things like that. Another material that I like to use when it comes to fine black lines. In the past, I would use like fine line markers. I had several, like the 0.5 and the 0.1 and the 0.05. Excuse me, but it still didn't feel right. it didn't feel right. I was still looking for something that was more in my lane. And that's when I came across a Japanese black ink pen. And I haven't looked back since. Since I had that pen, I have never looked at another fine liner again. Which, to make a sidetrack, I think as an artist, it is important to find the tools that work for you. Find and search the tools that you need that will make you go like, oh, I don't want anything else. This is the best. This works for me. I have that with the Japanese black fine liner. It works so well for me. Small lines, broad lines, squiggly lines, thin lines, thick lines, blacking out. It is a beautiful pen. I don't want anything else. That's not to say that the other fine line markers are not good, but like I already said, for me, the moment that I got my hands on it, and I have to be honest, it wasn't straight away like love at first sight, because in the beginning I was like, I don't know how to work with this. Then I started to study other people, how they used it, and I think someone described it best by saying, you just have to let your hand guide. Your hand has to be complementary to what the pencil can do. So not you forcing what the pen needs to do, but you supporting the features of the pen. I'm talking about it as if this is a car or something like that, but it is true. The pen has its features, and you can use those features to complement your illustration. Once you get that, you can do anything with it. That's how I feel with it. It's just a beautiful pen. It's just a beautiful pen to work with. Now, next to using all of these methods and mediums, I also love the markers. Yeah, I've seen that for the last couple of videos where I'm sketching. I use the markers religiously. I have Copic markers. I also have the markers of Winsor & Newton. Most people are familiar with Copic markers. If not, go and Google. Go here on the YouTube. You will find so much information, and so many videos on how to use Copic markers. Everybody uses that in different ways. But the beauty of Copic markers is that they can be used together, and the material and the outcome of it is just beautiful, right? There is a certain way that you have to work with if you don't want to have streaky work. It is best to use paper that is meant for it. The paper of this particular sketchbook is not meant for Copic markers because it will soak up so much of it. Also not for Winsor and Newton markers. However, there are paper, types of papers that you can use, marker paper that do not have that absorption level, that high absorption level that you have to fill up your Copic marker again. And that's another thing, a beautiful thing about Copic markers. They are refillable. Winsor & Newton markers are not. Copic markers has a huge range of colors. Winsor & Newton markers do not. But Winsor & Newton has a couple of beautiful colors. I have to say they do. But I have more Copic markers. There was a time where I was really into Copic markers. I still have them, the white ones. I have the small ones, the brushes, the pointy tips. Several ones. For some of the colors, I even have refill tubes. I have the tips as well that you can replace them. So Copic has thought of everything when it comes to this. They even have fine line markers. So that is just to see how elaborate their brand is for people who do illustrations, drawings, and all of the like. So those are a number of the materials that I use. When it comes to erasers, I have one sturdy chippy eraser, nothing special with. But I do also have to buy another kneadable eraser. And the beauty of a kneadable eraser is that you can really pinpoint what it is that you want to erase. A block eraser is just too big. But a kneadable eraser can be kneaded into a point, and it's usable. It really has, a really, really fine way of working. So yeah, I also have color pencils that I have also from the brand Derwent and another brand. They also have that for pastels. But it's not so much about the brand as it is about the quality of the pencils. They are really great. They're really soft. They complement certain areas if I want to, give a little bit more contrast details into it. I don't really consider myself to be like a color pencil girl. They're more complementary to what I do than the main point of what it is that I want to do, basically. So yeah, those are the materials that I basically use in my sketches and drawings. So if you really want to see me show what it is that I have, let me know here below in the comment section and I will show you that. I don't do too many how-to videos simply because there are so many how-to videos here on the channel. However, I do believe that it can be a good thing for people to see how one particular artist has their own approach. So yeah, if you want to see them, let me know. If not, I don't know. I don't know if I'm going to make videos like that, but maybe so. Maybe so. Just for the purpose of having those videos so that you can see what different purposes it might have for an artist. It's time to wrap it up. Time to clean it all up. Listen, if there is one word that I can sum it up with for today, it's gratitude. I am so happy to pull myself through it today. Even with the sciatica that I'm feeling right now that flared up. And I have to say, she was at a level spicy right now. I have different levels that I use for it. I have basic, mild, spicy, and just flaming hot. But today she was spicy. And I kind of was like mentally preparing myself as I'm cleaning up, mentally preparing myself to go to the bus stop because I have to walk that piece. And it is such a short piece. But with a sciatica, a nerve pain, a pinched nerve, that piece is like a 20-kilometer marathon. A 20-kilometer marathon. So breathing, putting my mind just into the space of preparation is just what is important. And listen, I know I'm going to make it because I said so. Period. So we're coming to the end of the video, good people. I'm just happy to be in the studio and I'm happy that you're here with me. If you have made it so far, you definitely are a trooper. So I also want to urge you to go to my website, www.mcjstudio.me, and subscribe to my blog, to my newsletter as well. It is important that y'all follow me on different platforms because I have different things to offer to you all. Here are the brushes that I talked about earlier. Yeah, it's a mess. But anyway, before you leave, subscribe, like, and share the content with people around you. It's so important to push more of this into the stratosphere, and I need you in this as well. All right? So I really would appreciate that. I'm going to see y'all folks. And next time, be safe, be blessed, and be loved. Bye, y'all.